if you want to practice some house drawing, then this is a great little exercise for you to do. Or even just more generally working on proportions and where we start and how we progress a drawing. Because it is a relatively box-like subject with just a little bit of detail, I think, to make it a little more interesting than just drawing boxes. Now, there is also, if you want, a bit of additional interest, what I call the street clutter, the car, the couple of posts. There's well, I didn't actually draw the garbage bins. That's the one bit of clutter I decided to leave out. But there is that side street, the glimpse of the building on a cross street further back on that right-hand side street, and also the house on the left, of course. So really, draw what you want to draw. If you want to use it just as a proportions exercise of getting these box-like structures drawn accurately, then don't worry about those things at all and just take all the boxes to their corners without having to leave a gap for things to come in front. But equally, if you'd like to work on your skill of having street clutter, in a sense, over the top of the main subject, which is what it often does, then this is a great subject to try on. Notice with that stop sign, yes, sadly I drew down too far of that right-hand wall and went right through it. Well, half through it. But when I write stop on it, it's not going to be as obvious. Now, I want to keep this fairly light. I want to really have it more just the fairly clean line. So I'm not going to do a lot of hatching with this. You're watching this at double my drawing speed. So if you want to see it at real time, it is very easy to use that cog icon to reduce this video speed to half speed. And then you'll watch me draw it at real time. A little bit more closely zoomed in. So you can certainly see what's happening. I don't need to tell you, it's a 0.2mm pen. Do I? Please hit that like button if you're finding this helpful. And you will, of course, also find this reference photo on my channel community page. And there is a link in this video description that will take you straight to the reference if you want to have a go drawing this yourself. Notice with this small, I think it's a type of pine that's in a pot in the front. Notice I haven't drawn that because, well, there's a fence in front of it, and these dark on dark areas are ones that I think are often, well, I think basically it's a shortcut that lessens the effectiveness of our drawing. Always draw the first thing first. By first, I mean the closest thing, which isn't necessarily the main thing. And you can see what I've done there. So I've just got little tiny glimpses of the paper coming through around the closest thing. And that, I think, just creates enough visual distortion that we feel that the closer thing is in front. And you'll watch me do this when I do the iron lacework above, because we have that dark area behind it of the double doors they would be that open onto the veranda. Now it is a bit surprising that on this upper story as well, there are no windows on each side. Possibly they've been filled in at some stage in the past. Now with this car, you can see what I did. I left that corner where I saw it was going to come visually in front of the house. And what I do with cars is I try not to think of them as cars or see them as cars and therefore try and draw them as cars. I try to see them as angles and shapes that combine together to make them look like a car. And they're usually in places where we're going to expect to see a car, such as on a road, and that helps. But you can see me now just doing this power box. This is where all the fuses for the house will be. And I haven't worried about too much detail until I establish the entire house. So here we have the veranda part of the corrugated iron roof. And see how I'm referencing where this angle's going to be? And I just did those lines to show you how I'm trying to work out the height of the roof section in comparison to a space I've already drawn. And it's a bit less than what I've already drawn. always use what we've drawn to reference what we haven't drawn. So now here, just doing the same thing on the other side and trying to get this chimney done. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you draw this and you want to show me how it looks, then you can post it as a post on my community page as well. So that would be nice. And you can also go there and see how other people have interpreted some of the same subjects I've drawn in a drawing video. Now with this side street, I certainly want to keep it very, very light and not particularly detailed, because I want it to feel further back than the house. And I will put a little bit more detail on the house, and I'll come over the top of some of the more important lines in this case, such as those ones I've just done there. So now I think I'm about to do the wrought iron railing. Now, how we do it, now just notice what I did there. I did those vertical lines over the drawing to get a sense of how close are they, because in a sense there's double the number of vertical lines that we expect to see, and it's because of the way the pattern's set, it creates this optical illusion. And I just noticed there's actually probably a lounge, an old lounge on the balcony on the left hand side, which I didn't see, and so I didn't draw, but I would have done it exactly the same way. I'm going to do the area behind the balcony where the double doors are. So I've tried to draw as many lines in as I think approximately we have. What I don't want to do is start drawing precisely, and that's why I'm deliberately doing all the marks on this quickly and approximately. Because once we start drawing in inverted commas exactly, it's going to become very clear how inexact they all are. So this way, I'm trying to get a grab visually for the feel of this ironwork, of the pattern. So whatever you do, don't just do lots of scribble, and I use scribble quite literally. Try and get a sense of the feel of the flow, of the direction of the patterns and the pieces of iron. This is exactly the same principle I'll use whether I'm doing our Australian balcony lacework of the late 1800s or whether it's a 1600s palace balcony balustrade, iron balustrade in Europe. It's the same principle. I want to capture the feel, the effect. So now I'm just working out the behind bits. And again, I'm not preciously kind of outlining or filling in the gaps very carefully. It's just a generalized grab. But because we're reading the balcony railing as being closer, then that helps us see the darker space behind sitting back. It looks like I could have actually just taken it a millimetre further out on each side. That's the problem with some of these demos I do, where I'm really trying to keep it to a fairly brisk style and relatively short time. Sometimes I just don't do that second look that I would do if I was simply drawing this for myself or I were on location myself. And there we are. And so that line that I drew through the middle of the sign area isn't such a problem. And of course, I probably should have tried to do the stop in white and done some hatching for the fill behind, but that weren't going to happen, were it? So a few very simple lines for the roadway in front. The gutter in place. These are the parts that we really want to work hard at including, though, I think. When we have a street scene, put as much effort into the effect of the gutter as we do into everything else. And now the corrugated iron, I'm doing these little dots to represent the little shadows that get created in the little corrugations. and they appear at all places where the corrugations meet a straight line of some sort. Again, it's a great example of trying to just capture the effect of what we're seeing with our marks, not trying to draw exactly the things that are there. Look how that gutter goes behind the pole and it goes behind the stop sign posts. And I try not to run them up necessarily right up to the edge, even though of course visually in reality that's what we see. I find a slight gap between objects like that really helps the ones in front to feel closer. I don't normally do that. I don't normally put street wires in, but I thought, why not give it a go? And it was the sort of scene where I thought it would work well. And now there are these cars parked parallel to the house on the other side of the road of the side street. And then there's also a car that's actually parked at 90 degrees to the house on the street that runs parallel and behind the one in front here. But this is where I really don't want to start getting too detailed. And I might even, on another day, have used a 0.01 for this house on the right-hand side and for all of this detail. That's actually quite a bit further back from the house, while in some ways in the photo it looks level with the house because horizontally it's on the same level. Taking sort of 3 dimensions, depth into account, it's actually quite a long way back from the house. So trying to find marks that will create that feel. And then it's just time to get this tape off and see how it looks. What do you think? It was a fun little exercise, just over 20 minutes it took me. G'day, I'm Stephen Travers. Look, great little subject to practice all sorts of drawing issues, proportions, the effect of detail, street clutter, having things feel in front of other things. So why not use it for that? But in the end, whatever you do, however it turns out, make sure you have fun. I'll see you next time. Bye.